What's good, everybody? And we're actually live right now. We're on Twitch doing it this time. That being said, let's get right into it. Ban list, restricted list, whatever you feel like calling it. It's that time of the year again. For those that don't know, we're about to get a restriction list going into effect. Ours will go into effect for us over in the States and in the western part of the world in March, while I believe it'll be December 18th or sometime in January, early January, for Japan and the OCG territories. So that being said, these are my, not so much predictions, my calls on what I think should get hit, and most of these are pretty unbiased. If they were biased, there'd be a whole lot of Digimon stuff on here, because that deck is like watching paint dry. That being said, though, the two that I want to get out of the way real quick are Gravity Crush and Blinding Ray. They're strong option cards that give you the memory back, and could go to one for what they do help facilitate with like red OTKs or yellow OTKs, or just in some cases yellow decks that want to trash that top card to gain effects, so gaining the benefits as well as memory. That being said, with those two, I also don't feel that the BT12 Marcus will be hit, but I feel like it still should be, just because it's very, very strong with that free evolution effect still. And it could become prevalent if some of these hits happen. It might not, but I don't think it'll get hit, but I could see why if it does. So that gets to the actual main contenders of the hits. All of these are specifically for either their own archetypes or facilitating more things than what they really should be. Starting with probably the least likely, unfortunately, and that is Apocalymon. Apocalymon being the big boogeyman that is still kind of prevalent even after getting the Eismon restricted to 1, as well as some Gabumons. For how quickly it was getting to its thing, it's still prevalent, it's still doing its thing. It's just a tad bit slower. But when you have a card that essentially says, hey, your 40 card deck, because that's really what it is at the end of the day, is you have your 5 card opening hand, you have your 5 cards in security, you have a 40 card deck, you draw so many cards just for Digivolution, draw effects, or search effects, your reveal effects, thin your deck, and then this comes along and just says, cool, I'm gonna dump so much of your deck that you've got no chance. Apocalymon is a big issue. It should not have been printed, and Bandai would be setting a good standard, in my opinion, if they just went ahead and nixed this down to 1 already. Eroded it to only count for Dark Masters for its mill effect, or the best thing that I think they could do is take a page out of Cardfight Vanguard's book and choice restrict things. They could easily choice restrict Apocalymon to where it cannot be played with any level 6 that is not Dark Master. That immediately cuts down so much of the protection that it gains, the inactivity that it causes on your opponent through things like the Magnadramon on play, the Metallic Dramon on play, if you're playing Volcanic Dramon, that on play, the blanket protection that you can give it via Craniumon, as well as the if you're doing the big Belf play of going sleep mode into attacking a rage mode to mill even more cards for that blanket protection. That would be the easiest way. Just introduce choice restrict, or what I've been advocating for a while, which is rotation. But that is a topic for a different video. Next unlikely, because it's a super rare, Mervamon. Mervamon being one of the key cards of the Anubismon deck that is getting ready to drop for us here next month in the West, and that Japan has had for a while. Very cool deck. I look forward to getting to play it, but Mervamon is a bit of a problem for it because you essentially set up and you can go into this whole thing for free or very, very cheap cost, rush the board, clear things down, or set up with a bunch of blockers with retaliation. Or not blockers with retaliation, blockers with retaliation. But with it being a super rare, I don't think it's going to get hit. And that's unfortunate, because this going down to 1 means that Ignitemon, and I accidentally cleared that off, but we'll talk. That Ignitemon will not get hit, meaning other decks that could benefit from it could still use it. But I think Ignitemon's probably going to be the one that gets hit for Merva's sins, as it were. And it's just because of that inheritable, because you get to tuck it and gain some memory back and do the thing. They're probably going to hit the uncommon over the super rare. Alright, so getting into the last couple of cards. Garurumon X Antibody from EX5 is an incredibly strong card that just helps you gain memory back when you go into your go into it on top of your Garurumon, allowing you to draw 2, pitch 2, set up your trash. And it doesn't matter what deck you're playing. You could be playing this in a Levia or Demon Lord package, and it's going to be just fine. You could be playing it in a Merva package. It won't be as good, but it would be something. There's the Beelstar deck that is getting played in very prominently, as well as Apocalymon and its own home in Metal Garurumon X builds. It's an incredibly strong card. People have been calling for it to be hit for a while now, especially with Apocalymon and everything else that goes along with it. And if it gets hit, I won't be surprised. I won't be happy, but I will accept it because, well, I play purple, and it'll suck to see a piece gone. Speaking of seeing pieces gone, these are ones that definitely need to be addressed in some form or another. Analog Youth is just a card that's been around for a while now. It's incredibly powerful. It digs 3 cards deep. It sets up trash for decks that want their trash set up. You get to pick a card, as long as it's a Digimon, of course. So you can whiff. There is the potential for that in the memory swing back on a level 5 or higher getting deleted that has sources of yours. With the egg hatch, helps with the Finry setup. So that's why Analog Youth could be hit, but most likely it would be the Hellugarmon. Hellugarmon is the one that really pops off because of Analog Youth. It sets up your trash, it gets to recombo off and everything else, while getting rid of a stack. While the meta is pretty healthy right now, and I don't think that this is all that strong of a card at the current moment, with as many decks don't have protection, or if you can get through their protection and then drop a Hellugar to clear their stack and set up your own combo in turn, yeah, you're gonna be just fine. This getting put to 1 would not surprise me, especially with all the supports that Finry is getting through the SOC traits that are coming in BT16. Yeah, that's a while for us over here in the States, but when we're seeing cards that are coming out, we get to brew and figure things out for our best of 2 formats, and something that just says, cool, let me pop this down, pass it over to your turn, gain some memory back when I pop it, set up my trash and everything else, get rid of your big stack that could potentially help you go off next turn. That's kind of an issue. Or if it's one of those things, it's like, alright, I'm at 2, let me go ahead and just evolve into this, go to 1, detach, IG, gain some memory back from my inheritables, pop this, gain another memory back, and just full combo off the following turn while crippling you. Yeah, that's kind of a problem. Anyways, those are the cards that I think will be hit. Those are the cards that I think could be hit. Everything else is honestly fairly good right now in the meta. The meta is very healthy. for us with our BT14. BT15, that's going to be a different story, and I'm really, really hoping that a Pokemon gets addressed before it has the big swing of things. Because we're already talking about gentleman's agreement not playing it at locals unless we need to test for a regional or something the following day, because that deck is still incredibly oppressive and unfun. But yeah, later on, if you want to come hang out with us over on Twitch, please do so. We're live right now, just chatting and everything else. It's a lot more uncouth, so it's a lot more real, but we have a good time. Digimon, RPGs, and all that. Later.